Hey, Becky, how's it going?
Good, good. Good to see you this morning.
You too. Thanks for taking a minute. I wanted to just spend a couple of minutes talking about you just jumped into the Badass Masterclass, which is a monthly subscription for high achieving career women. And I wanted to just take a minute and do a couple of things. One, we're going to use this to publish to the masterclass so people can get to know each other a little bit more. But I'm also going to publish it out if anybody else wanted to join so they know what it's about, who's joining, and what they can expect out of it. So I'd love for you to just introduce yourself. Tell people a little bit, especially the folks in the masterclass with you. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Sure. So currently, I am the director of marketing at Gibson. We're a regional insurance broker. And so director of marketing, really handling anything from a lot of brand. We've actually just recently went through a rebrand, anything that has to do with public relations, communications. And one thing that I loved when I joined Gibson was they allowed me to continue working in my philanthropic background. So I have a lot of, it brings me a lot of joy, but I have a lot of contacts. I'm involved a lot with nonprofits here in the South Bend community. And working for Gibson, we give a lot back to our communities. We're in 5 different cities throughout the region. And it's been really fun to get to know all of the nonprofits in the other cities as well. So just continuing that great work. I hope to make Gibson proud and put our name as a give. We want to give back to the community, and that's really to me. And I love that Gibson allows me to do that along with the other marketing things.
I'm glad you mentioned that you just gone through a rebrand, because I think that's significant when I think about the director of marketing role and what that entails is one thing, but it's a very different thing when you've just gone through a complete rebrand strategy, the first time you've done one in a number of years, and the amount of strategy and effort and execution that takes all falls on your desk. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I know that it's been quite the project. And now that we're starting to see it out into the world, I got to see a little behind the scenes before it launched. And I noticed that when people are commenting on Gibson things on LinkedIn, they're not just commenting on the post, but they're saying, love the new look, looking for, like, people are noticing the work that you've put into it. So congratulations on a really important project.
Thank you. Thank you. It was definitely a labor of love, a team effort. Not just the end project management might have fallen on my desk, but there were a lot involved, and I'm excited that we're using it. I can't wait to be at events again and people to see and hear us talk about the brand from a different way. I think it's going to be a really, really great thing for Gibson.
I do too. So next question I have for you is, you jumped in right away to the masterclass when we put it out. What was it about gathering with high achieving women monthly in these discussions? What was it that had you jump in quickly? What were you looking for? What did you see in this thing?
Sure. So I got to know you and kind of what you're all about as, listening to the Badass podcast and my boss here at Gibson actually being a part of Rise and Thrive last year really, I think, made that stick in my head. I was really proud of her. I was really excited of the positive energy she brought when she talked about the lessons she learned in the Rise and Thrive. So when there was an opportunity for me to be involved in something that was virtual and to get some networking out of the opportunity and to learn and grow for myself and just to grow into my leadership role for this company and for the community that I want to serve at large. I said, wow, this is a really great opportunity for me to be able to have 4 different teachers, 5, if you include yourself as well, all different mentors for me. And then we all get to meet in a small roundtable group and talk about how awesome women are. Like, there's not really a better thing than that to me. Yeah. That's really, so that piqued my interest, was just learning about all of the programs that the Badass Women's Council and that you're involved in. But ultimately that I was able to do it in the environment that is open to me right now, being virtual, and I'm in South Bend, and I don't need to be in Indianapolis. I don't need to be anywhere. I'm a strong woman and I can tune in right here with you now. And that really a great opportunity for me.
I love that. And I know we talked about this before we started. I feel like our bubbles got really small for several months, most of last year, right? We were just kind of hunkered down, and I'm excited for everybody to kind of rise back up and meet new people, and the energy that gives you just to explore somebody's story makes you think about yours differently. So it's one of my favorite things to do. I'm so excited about it. So we've only had one session so far, and that session was with Eliza Kingsford, who is specializes in health and body image and weight loss, but she comes at it from the neuroscience aspect of it. So her first session that we did was on really the mindset or the neuroscience behind body image. What did you, and I left that session and I got several comments from you and others that, just on fire, inspired, and motivated in just a 1 hour time frame. What was it that you took away from that session most significantly?
Yeah, well, first off, I felt like proud that I was even sitting in a group with Eliza as the person teaching us, because, she's obviously a brilliant woman, and everyone else in the class as well. But I also have a little bit of I get kind of geeky on the neuroscience stuff. It's really interesting to me. But to really dig into what I got out of the class, she talked a lot about using I am statements and positive reinforcements. And we talked mainly about body image, which is super important for not just women, but men as well. But we hold that very close to us, right? Often. But what I realized this last week, as I started going through different things in my life, whether I was in the office or I was home with my children, I would notice sometimes that I would tend to frame sentences or frame thoughts in my head with a negative connotation to them. And it kept making me think back to what Eliza said, the I am statements, the positive. How do you turn those negatives into positive? Even though it didn't necessarily relate directly to body image, like she said, it can relate to a lot of things that are in your life. And it just made me pause for a moment and think, gosh, if I just turn this little thing that I'm saying this way, it's going to sound better to my kids, to my husband, to myself, to my brain, even if I'm just thinking it. So that was my real takeaway. Just little tweaks can make a big difference.
Amen. And what we'll see, the thing I love about being able to come together each month a couple of times is you'll be able to come back to each other and say, hey, here's how I applied it, and here's how it impacted me. And just that conversation of being able to be in that small group and encourage each other. I'm so dang excited about it. I can't stand it. So we've got another session today where Alyssa Bartenbach is going to talk about leadership. And she comes to us with, she's certified in Brene Brown's Dare to Lead. She's also a resilience coach. So I'm excited for that session today at 1. And if anybody is thinking about joining, don't hesitate to reach out and ask me questions. Becky, I'm sure, is happy to answer any questions about the group. We'd love to have you join. Thanks, Becky, for being here and for introducing yourself. I'm excited, and I'll talk to you again in a few hours today.
Thanks.